Okay, and we are live after a tiny hiccup at the start of this. Get some lights going. Come on, lights. There we go. All right. That's reflecting a lot. Sorry, everybody. I'm kind of limited. I'm using this like magnifier thing. I should say everybody watching the archive because no one's actually here. So, before I get started with the painting, was anyone able to guess what today's subject is going to be? I did actually drop a hint in the vlog that I referenced before this. When I was talking about how I could drone on about my intended project, that was because today we're going to be painting Transformers Prime Soundwave. Because I'm just, why not? So, I have some reference photos that I'm going to be using. I'm pretty much going to be focusing just on the robot mode because that seems to be where most of the changes and tweaks are going to be made. But yeah, let's see how this goes. As before, I've got my supplies here, so clearly I've got the figure, but I've also got my cleaning paper towel, my paints, which thankfully Soundwave's paint scheme is pretty basic in terms of stuff that I'm missing, so I'm just going to be using blue and pink. And the blue's not a perfect match, the pink's not a perfect match, but whatever. Got my little brush, and I got my big old tub of enamel thinner. This in particular is a Tamiya, or Tamiya, however it's pronounced, enamel thinner, which is primarily intended for their panel liner, but it's enamel thinner, and these are Testor's enamel paints, so it still cleans them, and so this way I've got lots of enamel thinner that I can use. So, let us do the thing. I believe I am going to... do I want to start off with the head? Let's get a closer look at this guy. In fact, I think I'm going to turn on the light and the magnifier here. So there are some details that I'm seeing in the reference photo that are not molded into the head. So I'm going to need to work around that. Bring that down so you can see what I'm looking at. Alright. Okay, maybe I'll hold off on the head. We will hold off on that for now. Instead, let's start with his feet, maybe? Yeah, I think we can start with the feet. Okay, so this guy's deco, looking at the reference photo. The paint's definitely not going to be exact because I don't have enough paints to do stuff, and like this gray is supposed to be in a few other areas, but I'm going to start by painting the base of the feet here, like this kind of rim around here in blue. So, take the paint. I'll shake this off camera because it's a lot of shaking. You can probably still see me shaking in the reflection. There we go. All right. And get this open, and hopefully it doesn't cause problems. Okay, excellent. I like it when the paint doesn't cause problems. All right. Now comes the hard part. Pardon me while I adjust this a little bit more, because I'm kind of working around the camera while at the same time looking through the camera, but not quite. It's complicated. Doing this and having it record my voice and also see what I'm doing properly, it's a bit of a challenge. So this is definitely not something I'm going to be doing for all of the custom projects that I do, because this is awkward, but it should turn out okay. So, to start, let's Let's just commit paint. So here we go. I'm just paint right along the edge here. And I'm going to try to avoid these little square-ish decos on the foot, because those are supposed to still be gray. There we go. And I'm sure this will be streaky and imperfect when I'm done, but all my work is streaky and imperfect. And really, if I'm spending too much time worrying about making it perfect, then I'm either never going to finish it, or I'm just going to make it worse. So, got to learn to accept those mild imperfections, I guess is the word I'm looking for. It's fine. And it'll be fine. There we go. Just trying to use very light brush strokes. Trying to just barely get along the edge of the plastic there and kind of let the physical shape of the plastic kind of determine where the paint goes. Because there's like a little lip here, so if I don't push down too hard, then by brushing up against that lip, the paint will just stop where the lip is, because I'm not pushing down hard enough to get paint any further than that. I'll still probably need to clean it up as I'm going, but for just a first kind of get things going coat, it should be fine. And I'm gonna work out through here. So for anyone who's watching the stream, or the archive of the stream most likely, because again, nobody seems to be interested in the actual streams. For anyone who is curious, I mentioned in the... Oh, Astrid, now is not the time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm in the middle of something, and someday people might watch. I'm sorry, honey. Hello. I am not entirely sure how to pronounce your name. Is it Nor Pampita? I don't know if that's right. I'm sorry if it's wrong, but hello. Thank you for joining me. I'm sure I'll be super not interesting as I'm focused on painting this thing while also trying to talk and also trying to respond to messages. It's fine. It's a learning process. We'll learn together. But as I was saying before, with regards to the vlog that I posted before that was mentioning this live stream, yes, I am painting Transformers Prime Soundwave. That is the secret figure that I was being all weirdly coy about announcing. I don't know why I wanted to be elusive about it. I just, I don't know, thought it'd be kind of fun to be a little silly with it. Give it a little air of mystery. But yes, Transformers Prime Soundwave is a figure that I've had ever since it came out. I actually bought this in stores when it came out, which is wild because I have been so far out of the game for so long. But I did buy it in a store and have had it this whole time. And I've always wanted to paint it to make it a little more show accurate. And, well, now I feel like I have the foolish confidence enough to give it a shot. So that's what I'm trying to do today. And it's probably going to be a huge mess, but worst case scenario, I can just clean it off. Or live with my horrible mistake. Either way. But yes, oh yeah, the limbs will definitely be interesting. I'm starting slow. I'm probably not going to live stream the entire paint project because initially I thought, hey, this won't be too hard because there's only 2 colors I need to paint, but I didn't really stop to think about how complex the application of some of those colors will be. So, yeah. But to finish my story very quickly, we did go out and do early voting in New York today. We got to our location a little bit more than an hour before it opened. It opened at 10 a.m. We were there just about, it was like just before 9, basically. And, oh boy, there was a line. It wasn't as ridiculous as some of the lines that have been popping up on various social media feeds, but then again, it did get more ridiculous as we were waiting. Actually, the line ended up wrapping the block by the time we left, which was at about 11 o'clock. So, all told, once the doors actually opened, we were only waiting about an hour, which wasn't too bad. But the important thing is the voting is done. We have done what we can to try and put the garbage fire that is this country out. There's only so much one person can do, you know? But we did what we could, and hopefully things will start to swing in a better direction soon, but we'll see. All I know is I'm glad it's over with, because that has been weirdly weighing on my mind lately. And not because of the voting itself, it's just probably too much information for me to share, but hey, this is a live stream, that's what they're for, right? A while back, several years back, I actually had some pretty severe stomach problems brought about by, well, let's just say don't get seafood at any restaurant in Atlantic City, no matter how fancy it looks. So that kind of messed up my stomach for a very long time. I mean, a very long time. And things were so messed up that I actually, like, for over a year, I think, but things were so messed up that I basically developed pretty severe anxiety when it comes to things like leaving the house, or apartment rather, and spending extended periods of time away from home and not having potentially ready access to a restroom. It's not actually an issue, really, for me, in the sense that, like, I don't actually, like, you know, have restroom troubles. It's just that anxiety is still there because of the stomach problems that I had for a really long time. And it also led to me really sympathizing with people who have chronic, either chronic illnesses or chronic symptoms. Because feeling like your stomach is trying to eat itself for pretty much every waking hour of every single day, it kind of wears on you. It gets extremely difficult to be okay when your default mode is pain and discomfort. So I have extreme amounts of respect and sympathy for people who have chronic illnesses and chronic symptoms of any kind, because that stuff is just awful. It's, yeah. Like I said, probably sharing too much information, but hey, it's a live stream, that's what we do. Yeah, this is probably the worst year of my life in terms of just personal stuff. Oh, is the feed getting all weird? The video's looking a little skippy. Well, it is what it is. So with that overshare out of the way, yeah, that's the thing. Like, for the longest time, I never really had to deal with anxiety on a regular basis. It wasn't until I got older and life got way more complicated and I got, well, chronic illness that I really started to deal with anxiety. And, like, yeah, it's not fun how that can kind of crop up out of nowhere and be kind of debilitating at times. And sometimes mind over matter doesn't really do anything. Which I'm sure this is not news to you, but for me, it's something that I had to kind of learn on my own because it's not something I ever had to deal with before. And yeah, it is not pleasant. to put it extremely mildly. That landing gear is going to be a pain in the butt. Alright, I think I've finished with the feet as much as I can do. Oh boy, I really did not think this through. Looking at this reference photo, there are so many little details that I should probably paint in blue that I just... Oh boy. I was such a fool. An overconfident fool. Oh, what was I thinking? Well, we have started at least. Progress has been made. Now, does this... Trying to tell if this bit that goes over the top of the foot is also supposed to be blue or not. It's hard to tell from the reference photo that I have. It shows both feet, but it looks like, going by the reference photo, the top of the foot here is supposed to be this shade, like the shade of the plastic here. So maybe I don't want to paint that. Yeah, I probably won't paint that. Oh, but how am I going to paint the rest of this? Ugh, Rob, you fool, you absolute jerk. What were you thinking? Oh, the answer is I wasn't thinking. I was thinking this would be easy, that's what I was thinking. Let's see. Looks like this is... Oh, gotta keep it on camera. Looks like this little detail here is supposed to be blue. Yeah, you know, I did try to look up a bunch of reference photos, but it's difficult to find reference photos that are either a high enough resolution or show the parts that I need them to show. It's weird. Like, I have a really difficult time. It might just be that I'm not looking for the right things, but like, it's been extremely difficult to find the types of reference photos that I'm actually looking for. Oh boy. Seriously, I am such a logistical nightmare right now. Oh boy. I am so sorry this is such a mess. Here I thought I was all prepared. Okay, well, I guess then, since I've done the toes, I will move on to the upper body, because that's at least something I can see pretty easily that needs painting. So let's do an adjustment here. Pop that up. Alright. And Laserbeak, you gotta move. Alright, so Laserbeak off to the side. So, now, looking at what I've got on the screen here, it looks like there should be blue. Should be right in here. This section, it looks like, should be blue. So I'm going to paint that shoulder. And to do that, I'm just going to pop this arm off because it's on a mushroom peg. So let me do that. And you are absolutely right with like this Soundwave's design. I remember being confused the first time I watched Transformers Prime, being like, what did they do to Soundwave? But like, it grew on me pretty fast, and also Soundwave as basically the creepy Slender Man of Transformers is a really interesting direction to go. I really, really liked what they did with Soundwave in Prime. Like, they made him... I can't necessarily say threatening per se. Like, he was threatening. He was definitely formidable. There's no denying that. I'm just popping all of his limbs off at this point because it'll just be easier to access everything. But, they made him formidable, no question about that. But they made him so creepy, and it worked so well. This creepy, no-talking Soundwave is, in my mind, probably the most interesting Soundwave. I did come around on Cyberverse. I wasn't super into Soundwave's Cyberverse depiction because he just seemed, I don't know, like they didn't distort his voice enough for my taste. He just sounded like Steve Blum talking into a fan. And I don't know if Steve Blum's actually his voice actor, but like that's just kind of the the impression that I got from his voice in Cyberverse, but he did grow on me. I do wish they had done a little more with his character, made him a little bit more threatening. I wasn't necessarily expecting to be, prime Soundwave threatening, but I just feel like they could have done a little more with Cyberverse Soundwave. But then again, they could have done more with a lot of Cyberverse characters because, dang, some of those, some of those Cyberverse characters, my goodness, were they wasted. Like, I don't want to get into specifics necessarily for anyone watching either the stream or the archive footage. I don't want to spoil anything major, but I will say, I've got the joy of cats. I've got a hair on the end of my brush. Hang on. Okay. But I will say, there are certain characters that appear in Cyberverse that it's very cool that they appear in Cyberverse, but they just kind of pop up for one quick reference and then disappear. Like, there is a character that shows up at one point in, I think, the second season that's like, it's like they just say, "Hey, you," and that character's like, "Oh, hey," and like that's the only mention the character gets. And then they pop up again, I think, later in the third season, like towards the beginning of the third season. They're just kind of there for 5 minutes, and then they're gone again. And it's like, why was this character even in there? Now, with regards to what you were saying about Prime Soundwave's Cybertronian mode, I don't think I ever saw his Cybertronian mode. Maybe I just missed it. I don't know, but I don't remember seeing that. But in my mind, turning him into a spy drone, it makes a perfect amount of sense because he's Soundwave. He's, subterfuge is kind of his thing. So, like, it made sense in my mind to go from, tape deck, which for its time, I feel like a tape deck was a decent way to kind of hide a espionage heavy Decepticon. In the 80s that made sense, but like nowadays, he would either have to turn into an MP3 player, which wouldn't really work because of the whole extreme mass shifting, which just would not work in a toy, or do something a little bit more like this. And this, for me, is a really clever idea because, he's a freaking spy drone. It just makes perfect sense. It's kind of like how they made Megatron into a tank. It just works. It fits the character in my mind. It's functional. And, it, like I said, just works. Really hoping that this layering on this is not too terribly streaky because, oh boy, it is, as I said, difficult doing this with a camera between me and the magnifying glass. I can't get my face in there as much as I would want. I miss the days when I did. I miss the days when I didn't need glasses because I could paint stuff like this without even needing a magnifying glass. The magnifying glass would have made it easier then too, but boy, don't get old, everybody. Getting old sucks. And there's this like patch right here that just doesn't look quite right, so I'm going over it with a little bit more blue. This is... I really do apologize for how much more complicated this ended up being than I was expecting. I thought this was going to be a really quick kind of in and out project, but nope. Bit off more than I could chew. My arrogance, etc., etc. And that's not too bad. That blue absolutely does not match the purple, but that's okay. And heck, I might go in and paint over the purple. Cybertronian mode for Soundwave was shown pretty briefly alongside the... no, I lost the comment. But yeah, I totally missed it then if it was shown briefly. I absolutely did not catch that when they showed it. So that's on me. I need to rewatch Prime. I went back and rewatched Prime last year, I think, and I gotta say, it still holds up. It's still a great show, but it is actually rather disappointing that the only the first season is available on Netflix currently, or at least it was when I watched it. I really want to watch more Transformers Prime, and I know there's more than the one season, but nope. To heck with what I want, right, Netflix? Canceling the Dark Crystal. I'm still mad about that, too. Dark Crystal Age of Resistance was a great freaking show, and they canceled it out of nowhere. Tubi. I'm not familiar with Tubi, but I should check that out. Thank you. To be fair, wish the designs on fast production, Cybertron and game designs. Yeah, that would be cool actually if they did the, if they referenced either War for Cybertron or Fall of Cybertron, kind of tie it all together, make it nice and neat. That would have been pretty slick. I gotta. Sorry for the silence all of a sudden. I'm trying to look up a better photo of Soundwave. Maybe if I could just get a close-up of his face. I am such an amateur. Not that I ever claimed to be otherwise. Let's see. That is a really weird Digibash where someone gave him a face. That just looks weird. He's always in... he's always in shadow. So few times in that show where you could actually see him, like, outside. This is frustrating. It's like, people, light your Soundwave. I cannot tell how his head is supposed to be decorated. I don't think there's any additional blue on his head, but maybe there is. It's so hard to tell. Well, at least I can confirm one thing. I wasn't sure about these little flaps that are kind of hanging down here, but no, those are not painted, so I do not need to paint those. Also, now that I'm looking at this, it's really weird that they painted the back of the head here silver. Like it was originally supposed to be light piping and they just decided to paint it. I don't know. That's strange. But, yeah. I am really irritated that I can't find a better picture of this guy's noggin. Is that? I think that's someone's, like... Yeah, that's not official work. That's... that is somebody's drawing. Oi. Well, this has just gone super off the rails really quick. Aha! Here we go. Here's a photo of Soundwave when he's being interrogated, so that gives me a better look at his face. And yeah, it looks like mostly I just need to paint lights around his face. And I think those I'm going to do pink. So, not going to bother with that at the moment. Let's see, is there anything else on this dude? Anything else at all? I mean, I'm sure there is. I know for certain there's more on this guy that I gotta paint. But, let's see. I know this is absolutely riveting video. Just staring at the, limbless Soundwave torso while I babble. Like I said, I am not a professional, never claimed to be. I need a good photo of Soundwave's midriff. That is a sentence that I just said out loud. This guy is so obnoxiously tricky to figure out. Maybe I could just base it off of his RID appearance or something. Because there, at least, because he's cel-shaded, it's easier to make out the details. Still doesn't quite work, though. I might just have to get inventive with the midsection, because nothing I'm finding is turning up anything worthwhile. Alright, well, I think... Oh, I might actually need black for that, like right in there, to have that match up there, and then I can go in with pink, maybe? Do the lines around there, like the detailing in there. Yeah, I should probably do that. So I guess looking at this, that means the only blue that I gotta figure out still is his head, and then his arms and his legs. So, let's move on to an arm. Why not? What do you say? All right. So, going by this, it looks like, okay. Don't use the RID model? Why do these things disappear so quickly? I want to see the chat. I keep the messages visible. There we go. Okay. Don't use the RID model as a reference. It's not accurate to the prime model. Fair enough. So, yeah, looking at the detailing, it looks like I need to paint this bit up in here, but I don't think I want to actually do that because that's where this transforms. And yeah, that would rub in there. Hopefully Hasbro release Transformers Prime Soundwave. Yeah, that'd be nice. Like, they're re-releasing Breakdown, so it'd be nice for them to re-release Soundwave and give people who didn't get Soundwave back in the day the chance to get him, because it's a cool figure. Like, he's definitely got his limitations in terms of some of the posability and such, but I don't know, it's a neat figure. It's got a really interesting design, as I've gone on and on about quite a bit. Yeah, I'd be all for that. Give other people a chance. Boy, looking at this character model, they did a lot of stuff weird here. Like, this black isn't supposed to be here, this pink isn't supposed to be here. Well, I've taken liberties before. I can just do it again. And looking at this model, I don't see any blue that's missing from the arms. So, alright, well, arm's done. Let's get back to the leg, I guess. Now, these kneecaps, these are full of things that need to be painted. I should also, yeah, there we go. Need to get that. Never had prime figures at all. No, don't remove the, what's happening? What is happening? Cancel. Okay. Boy, this is a mess. I want to see the chat. Show me the chat. I get one of them at least if I have a chance. Yeah. The Transformers Prime figures, it's weird. Like, mostly the first edition figures are mostly the best ones. Like first edition Prime, first edition RC, first edition Bulkhead. Those are far and away the better versions of the figures that those characters got in the Transformers Prime toy line. But there are some figures that came out in the Transformers Prime RID line, which it's not confusing at all, having 3 different toy lines that use robots in disguise. The Prime Shadow Striker and... oh, Prime Shadow Strike Bumblebee. Okay. I think that was based off of the non-first edition mold. That's the one with, like, the automorphing chest gimmick, right? Because that one, I believe, was not from the first edition. But, yeah, the first edition figures were very cool, but then you've got stuff like the Viacon, which I'm sure anyone watching this channel's probably heard people go on and on and on about the Transformers Prime Viacon, specifically the second one, the RID version. I mean, that figure is brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. So I feel like if anyone's looking for a Transformers Prime figure, like first edition figures, absolutely, but the Prime Viacon, the RID Prime Viacon rather, is just spectacular. The way that the entire top of the car, the entire hood section, it all just rolls up into the legs is absolutely brilliant. Jet Viacon's kind of weird. Yeah, the Jet Viacon is kind of weird. It's basically like a Cadillac with wings on it and the wheels were taken off. I'm not super into the Jet Viacon look, but it's based on the same mold, and like I said, that mold is brilliant. Oh, geez, has it really been 10 years since Prime was... ugh. That is making me feel old. Yeah, I suppose they do defeat the purpose of the Seekers, but then again, I don't think there were Seekers in Transformers Prime, right? Like, it was pretty much just Starscream. Um, Darkwing and Dreadwind were in there as well, but they've never been Seekers, I don't think, and they, spoilers, I guess, don't stick around very long. So, yeah, I guess even when they were making Prime, they kind of figured, yeah, we don't really need Seekers. But yeah, anyone who has not tried the RID Prime Viacon mold, I absolutely recommend checking it out. Personally, I feel like the car Viacon is better than the jet Viacon because trying to work around those wings is a little bit awkward, but it's still a cool mold either way, and that transformation is amazing. Ground Viacon General repaint from. Why does it disappear so quickly? Live chat. Ground Viacon General repaint. Disappeared. Oh, I can scroll. Okay, that's good. Yes. Yeah, I did see that there were seekers of the like they did seeker versions of Transformers Prime Starscream. I don't know why I was blanking on his name there, but yeah, they were never in the show, which is understandable. And yeah, that Viacon General. I gotta say, I actually had the Viacon General at one point. I did a video on it too, so anyone watching this or feeling the need can check out that video. But the thing with the Viacon General is it looks fantastic in pictures, but the thing that greatly disappointed me about it was it looks like it's all silver, but it's not. The car bits are kind of like a shinier-ish silver color, but the actual robot bits, they're like kind of a dull gray plastic. And that was really disappointing. That dull gray plastic just kind of killed my enthusiasm for the figure. And I mean, it's still a great figure in its own, and I think it'd be cool too if I went back and got one and painted it properly so it was actually silver. But that dull gray was just kind of disappointing. The car mode looked great though. And it's a great color scheme. It's just I wish that they had done like a proper silver and not gray. Also, as I'm talking, you can clearly see that I'm painting these over in blue because according to the model I'm going by, it looks like these are supposed to be blue. Yeah, Transformers Prime, that show was great, and I also really loved how it still kind of held to the G1 idea with, like, Cliffjumper being a red car, Optimus being a red truck, Bumblebee being a yellow car. Hopefully Animated will get some figures. Yes, I would love for them to bring back animated figures rather. But yeah, the Transformers Prime designs, I always really liked them, and I liked how they kind of tapped into, for the familiar characters, in a lot of cases, they tapped into things that were recognizable from G1, but they also did their own thing. Like Breakdown is this huge hulking guy, but he's still got that extremely striking and memorable red face. And Megatron, okay, Megatron absolutely not G1, but they made Megatron scary in Transformers Prime, and I appreciate that. I think the only character in Prime that was scarier than Megatron is Soundwave. Yeah, I need to watch Transformers Animated. I think I've only seen 2 episodes. The one where Prowl gets the samurai armor, and the one where they introduce Soundwave. Because, of course, because Soundwave is one of my favorites, because Soundwave is everybody's favorite. Animated Red Alert and Brawn. I definitely never saw them in the show. Ironhide was going to be in Transformers Animated, but was omitted because kids will get confused, because apparently they think they're counterparts of the same thing. Oh, TFP. Oh, yeah, sorry, my eyes are not great. The P in TFP looked like TFA because I'm reading this on my phone screen, so it's really, really tiny. Sorry about that. Yeah, as for the steady hand, thank you. I actually shake a lot when I'm like really getting in there. I kind of have to brace my hands, and sometimes like I'll even do things like kind of prop my finger up on my other hand. Ironhide should have been in Prime. Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice to have more characters in Prime, but at the same time, I do understand why there weren't that many characters in Transformers Prime because I think they really wanted to keep the cast kind of tight, you know? Like only have a handful of characters so that way there aren't too many that you got to remember, there aren't too many that you got to worry about. It gives them more time to kind of flesh out the characters, but it would have been cool if there were more. I definitely agree with that. It's just I do think I kind of understand why they didn't add a bunch more. Okay, looking at this photo, there's a thing that goes around the back of the calf that's just not there, so I'm not going to paint that. Why didn't Dinobots appear? They would have stomped the Predacons. Yeah, Dinobots also would have been cool, but again, like it would have been great, but then I also imagine from the production standpoint, like it costs money to do character models and all the animation and the characters, like the voices and whatnot, and the more characters you introduce, the more expensive it gets, and then there's always going to be characters that people wish were in the show, you know? Like, it would be great if the Dinobots were there. It would be great if Ironhide was there. It would be great if, like, looking over at my shelf right now, trying to pick names out of my head. Like, it'd be great if Whirl was there. It'd be, it'd be cool. I was gonna say it'd be cool if we got RC, but we did get RC. It's a different RC, but you know what I mean. It's just like there are so many great characters that would have been cool to see in Transformers Prime, but then that show probably never would have been made if they tried to put that many characters in there. Yeah, Jazz does seem like a bit of an omission, but I feel like they probably could have, not saying they should have, just could have. They probably could have axed Bulkhead and replaced Bulkhead with someone else because Bulkhead was really only popular because of Transformers Animated. But I can also understand that, you know, he was like the popular new guy, so of course they want to keep him in there. But Bulkhead wasn't really like a super popular legacy character like Jazz or Ironhide or anyone like that. So, like, yeah, if they want to do that, they probably could have done that instead of Bulkhead. I have not gotten far enough in RID 2015 to know what Jazz is like in that one. I've only seen a handful of episodes, but good to know that I need to look out for that. I keep. I'm not entirely sure if I want to keep watching RID 15 because it's fine for what it is. Like I can't say that it's like making me angry to watch it, but it's certainly not super interesting. Yeah, it is definitely not the best. It is definitely not that. I mean, I appreciate what they did with it. I don't even mind Grimlock, honestly. Yeah, it is definitely as far as like a sequel to Transformers Prime, it is definitely disappointing. I'll definitely give you that. But like I can appreciate them wanting to do new stuff with it. Like, you know, Bumblebee is now supposed to be the leader and Hot Rod is basically Bumblebee. Strong Arm's an interesting idea. I like Strong Arm in RID. I wish they had done more with Strong Arm from like a toy perspective because her warrior class figure just I don't really like the giant fist chunks and like the weird back kibble wings, but like as a character, I thought Strong Arm was really interesting. And it was nice to get a lady transformer that's not just RC again. Not that I have anything against RC, and Prime RC is still one of my favorite characters from that show, but I like them doing different stuff. I really wish they would continue to do different stuff because I am so freaking sick of G1. So sick of it. I've gone on this rant before. Anyone on the Discord's heard me do this rant too, but it's just like there's so much G1 out there. so much. We don't need to revisit it every time. Bring back the freaking Unicron trilogy. Like, I appreciate them doing Beast Wars again, thankfully. Oh, Strong Arm was brought back into different media? I did not know that. Yeah, I appreciate them doing Beast Wars again. I'm glad that they're doing that. I saw that some people were upset about that, and it's just like, why? Why are you upset that they're not doing G1 again? We've had, like, I've been back into collecting for about 5 years now. I stopped collecting for a while, got back into it about 5 years ago. Oh, Strong Arms and IDW, okay. I really need to catch up with IDW. I have not been paying that enough mind. But, yeah, as I was saying, actually, I completely lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah, like, I don't understand how people can be upset about the G1 absence in Kingdom because, like I said, I got back into collecting after a long absence about 5 years ago, and so that was like around Combiner Wars and Unite Warriors, and that was all G1. It was going back to G1. Yeah, they made everyone a combiner, but it was still extremely grounded in G1. And I'm sick of G1 now. I've only been doing this for 5 years. I can only imagine how sick people are of the G1 over and over and over again who've been doing this for a lot longer than I have. It's like, enough. Give it a rest. Give someone else a turn. And I appreciate that they are. Like, I want Kingdom to do extremely well so that they get the message that it's time to branch out from G1. Like, I do understand from a business standpoint, I do understand that this is the thing that makes them money, provedly so. So, of course, they're going to want to keep doing it because that's the thing that they know makes them money. Whew, all this talking made me a little dry. Yes, solely G1 has been. It's too much. And like, I've seen so many interesting Optimus Prime designs that Hasbro and Takara have done themselves that still loosely homage G1 Prime, but aren't G1 Prime. Like, frickin' Beast Wars Neo, Big Convoy, the Optimus Prime that turns into a woolly mammoth. That is extremely not G1 Optimus Prime. I know this is messy, but I'm going to go back and clean it up in case anyone's wondering. That is extremely G1 Optimus Prime, or that is extremely not G1 Optimus Prime, sorry. But there are like little hints in the sculpt and in the color deco for that figure, in particular the robot mode, that still give it a G1 Prime feel. I think I said as much in the video for Universe Nemesis Prime, the one based on the Big Convoy mold, where he still has something that's vaguely similar to that truck chest. Like, if you look at his pecs, he's got like the clear plastic, he's got little lights along the top that kind of look like that. Oh yeah, if we got Big Convoy and Lio Convoy and Kingdom, that would be amazing. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, even the people who love G1 are getting sick of G1. How many G1 referential Optimus Primes have we had in like the last 5 years? It's got to be way more than I'm comfortable thinking about. So many. Let's see. Where am I at now? Perfect God Force Warrior? Is that the Perfect Effect version? Maybe? I don't know. I'm not. I haven't paid too much attention to Perfect Effects standard looking Optimi. Ah, okay. Yeah, I had the Nemesis Prime version, the Dark Warrior, I believe that one was called, and it's a good figure. It just there were a couple of things that kind of bugged me about it. But yeah, Perfect Effect does good stuff. With some exceptions, but then there are always exceptions. Oh, what next? I think I've blued all the blue that I can blue based on the sculpt here. I could do the kneecaps, but I don't want to because of the way these move around. I think I'm just going to do the pink in the grooves there, because that's the downside with these customs, is sometimes I have to just say, no, I'm not going to paint that, just in the interest of being able to actually transform the figure and not worry about stuff scraping off. Alright, time to clean the brush. And that's, for anyone curious, as I document the process, is just wipe off the excess paint, put that so you can see what I'm doing, dip the brush in the enamel thinner, and then just wipe it on there to get some of that paint off, and then squeeze and roll it back and forth, and I just do this a bunch to make it clean. It's tedious. But then all of this stuff is kind of, watch the entirety of the original G1 from season 1 to 4. I love G1, but I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, there is such a thing as too much of a good thing, or too much of a thing you love. We gotta pace. Sorry, throat's getting dry. I should get myself some water. But yeah, we gotta pace ourselves sometimes, because if we overload on the stuff we love, it just kind of gets to be a little bit boring and mundane. It's good to mix it up every now and then. It's just, I think what baffles me the most about the Kingdom controversy is the fact that we're basically just doing Truck Not Monkey again. And like, seriously, we've been through this already. Beast Wars has and deserves a pretty faithful fan base. So, like, you know, let the Beast Wars fans have their time in the sun, you babies. Same goes for Unicron Trilogy. I've never seen anything out of the Unicron Trilogy, but they have some cool toys. Bring some of those back. Shout out to Fans Hobby for doing their Masterpiece style Armada Optimus Prime. That looks amazing, but I'm going to wait and hope that they do a Nemesis version, because I really like the Nemesis colors. Yeah, I've never actually finished watching Beast Wars. Yeesh, my throat. Beast Wars, I can't remember when I stopped watching. I think I stopped watching before they did the Transmetals thing, but after the Fusors, but then maybe they did those at the same time. I don't remember. All I know is I never saw the end of it. I never saw Code of Hero. I never saw the bit where they find the Ark. Spoilers, I guess, sorry. So yeah, I definitely have not seen a bunch of Beast Wars, but like, I can appreciate the fact that a lot of people really like it, and supposedly the writing is incredibly good. Alright, now we're moving on to the pink. So, what I'm doing for this is I'm going to be going into, essentially I'm just going to be painting into the cracks that need to have like the pink color, and then wiping away the excess or cleaning off the excess, so that way the color just stays in these little grooves in here. And hopefully this will all show up on camera. I'm not entirely sure how well it's doing at focusing, and my apologies if it's not focusing well. I just, like I said, this is kind of an awkward setup. But I'm doing it this way because otherwise you would not be able to hear me at all. Because, oh boy, that test, that test did not go well. Could not hear a freaking thing I was saying. Alright, so there, put down a layer of pink, and then just whoop. And look at that. Nice and clean. Mostly. Where is it indeed? I will say, though, getting back to that, well, we were like that long time ago talking about the re-release of Breakdown and the Jet Viacon, I am actually tempted to get Breakdown, which is silly because I had Breakdown, customized him, and then sold him, but I am actually tempted to get him and customize him again because now I feel more confident in my abilities at customizing, and I feel like I have more patience to do this stuff. And I just put my thumb in that blue right there. Whoops. I think it's okay. But yeah, I am kind of debating whether or not I want to get Breakdown again. It's certainly a lot cheaper to get them now than it would be to get the $200 plus War Breakdown Takara version on. I still can't believe the aftermarket price on that guy. It's so ridiculous. I mean, I do understand why it's like that, because he never got a release in the US and then nobody could find him, but that's cost prohibitive, let's put it that way. So yeah, I am kind of thinking maybe I should get Breakdown again and customize him. Yeah, that's a small detail, but I like having the pink on the kneecap there. I dig that. I could do some pink on the knee, but I'm hesitant to do anything too extreme in here. I know I could and probably should, but so much is like going to be scraping around in here during transformation, and this sandwich is in somewhere, so like I don't want to make it so that the paint will rub off. So I think I'm going to leave it like that. I'm probably just going to go in and clean this up by the time I'm done with this. And looking at it, that pink, it's darker than that pink, but it's not too off. So that's something at least. Alright, enough of my rambling. Let's get back to painting. Off topic, but have you thought of getting any Power Rangers Lightning Collection stuff? I so want to get the SPD Omega with his unicycle, but Amazon France is out of stock. That's a shame. Yes and no on Lightning Collection. Like, it's undeniable that there are some really great looking figures in Lightning Collection. Ranger Slayer in particular caught my attention pretty early on, but like Ranger Slayer, and I forget the name of the Ranger, but the one from SPD that's actually Kruger. I forget is it Shadow Ranger, I think? But yeah, like those two I think look really cool. But the reason I don't want to get into SPD Shadow Ranger, cool. I remembered something that I usually am bad with remembering. Yay! But those figures look cool, but I'm hesitant to get them because I don't want to open that can of worms. It's kind of the same reason why I'm hesitant to do anything with Marvel Legends, because that's yet another, it's basically a Pandora's box that I'd be opening, and more stuff that I'd be tempted to buy, and I have enough trouble when it comes to being responsible with my money and also having physical space to put these things. Yeah. It is definitely a mood. There are just so many great figures out there that I really would love to get, but due to money and space and the fact that if I stretch myself too thin, suddenly it'll just be a huge mess. I have to draw the line somewhere. And so with Power Rangers and Marvel stuff, yeah, it's hard because there really are so many great figures. But like I said, gotta draw the line somewhere. Alright, for this, I think that gets pink, that little crevice there. I do make exceptions sometimes. Like looking at my, I have half of a shelf. One half of a shelf that I have is devoted to non-transforming action figures. And that shelf has, used to have more Star Wars Black Series figures on it, but I ended up having to be way more selective. So right now I only have my Sabine Wren that has the custom head that I got that Diana painted for me, and Captain Rex, because Rex is awesome. I do have the Beskar Armor Mandalorian and the Armorer from the Mandalorian on pre-order, because I could not help myself. But other than that, that's pretty much the extent of my Black Series figures. Because, like I said, gotta draw the line somewhere. Alright. Thought I could just wipe the paint off with my little cleaning cloth, but there's still some gunk on there, so I'm going to have to go in and clean that up later. Not a big deal. I think I'm going to do that bit there too. So yeah, I've got some Black Series. I've got one SH Figuarts figure, which is the OG Ultraman figure that came out a couple of months back. I think it's a re-release. I don't know. I don't follow Figuarts enough to know for sure, but it's one that was like extremely inexpensive and came with just hands, like no effects parts or anything like that, no stand, just hands. And I actually really like that figure because Ultraman is kind of a soft spot for me. Young Rob was big into Ultraman and Godzilla stuff, so got that. I've got a Figma Samus from Metroid Prime 3 because Metroid is just frigging awesome. And then Astrobots Apollo, and that's pretty much it. I don't have a whole lot of non-transforming action figures. Like I said, gotta draw the line somewhere. Haven't gotten any Black Series stuff, just got more spoiled around Marvel Legends and Lightning Collection. Like to have that Season 7 Ahsoka and some other stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I was very tempted by Ahsoka. I feel like if the Black Series Ahsoka was... I mean, I know that that for Black Series they're trying to go with a more like real-world aesthetic, and that's why all the characters that are from animated shows don't really look quite right. I mean, they still look good. Like, you know, Rex, when he's got his helmet on, he looks great. But yeah, like I do understand that they're going for this more realistic aesthetic, but for me, I just don't like that look for Ahsoka. That might change when season 2 of The Mandalorian comes out. I don't know, but for me, Ahsoka always has that kind of animated look. And seeing her with like a real world kind of 3D, not 3D, but like the face printing and all that, it doesn't do it for me. Which isn't to say that the figure looks bad, it's just not my aesthetic. Not my preferred aesthetic. So, it was easy for me to pass on Ahsoka, but, man, some of the stuff that's coming out, you can kind of see more of that panel, not quite panel lining, but yeah, going to be cleaning that up. I'm going to be cleaning up a lot on this guy. I have made a mess. But, yeah, if nothing else, I appreciate the fact that we're all spoiled for choice. There are a lot of things. Oh, also, Revoltech. I have the Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi Spider-Gwen. Forgot about her. I love that figure, by the way. There's something about Spider-Gwen's design that just super appeals to me. It's, I don't know. Something about that, the white and black with like the pink highlights, is just kind of great. So, love that design. I will say I actually am dipping a toe into Marvel Legends. Only slightly. Yeah, definitely expensive. Though I did luck out. Whoops, sorry, bumped the magnifying glass. I did luck out a while back when I was, by chance, and this was before the entire world went into quarantine, or at least should be in quarantine. But I went to our local comic book shop that also sells figures, and they even have like a kind of G1 Transformers section in the back, which is great. But I went to our local comic shop, and they had the Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi Spider-Gwen for sale. And all I can figure is they must have looked it up online and saw prices of like the less expensive knockoffs, because they were only charging $50. which I know is still not cheap, but like that's almost half what the figure originally retailed for, I think. Or maybe it's about what it originally retailed for, I don't remember. All I know is Amazing Yamaguchi Spider-Gwen for 50 bucks, and it is the official one. Yes, please. So I got that, and that has been great. Love that figure. I actually did get the bootleg too. Did a video on that actually, comparing the two of them, and the bootleg is surprisingly not bad. I think I got it for about 15 bucks, which, considering the fact that it's basically like a ever so slightly wibbly version of a really good figure for less than the cost of a Marvel Legends, I'd call that a win. So yeah, I actually have plans for that. Do I want to go in there? There's a lot of little detail in there that I kind of want to do in pink, but I don't think I have the patience to go in there. But yeah, as I was saying, I have plans for that knockoff. And I was also saying before I cut myself off, plans? Don't tell anybody, but yes, that is actually my plan. I actually just today, because of a thing I was watching on eBay and somebody sending me an offer, I've got a broken, right? I've got a broken Marvel Legends Gwenom coming to me. It's not in the mail yet because I just accepted the offer and paid for it today. But I've got a broken Gwenom coming to me because I'm really just planning to use the figure for parts. And my plan is to essentially take the hood and the vest and the hands and the feet and pull those off, pop them onto the knockoff of the Amazing Yamaguchi Spider-Gwen, and then like try and like paint the face and the body and whatnot, which will be interesting. But I want to do all that and essentially turn the Amazing Yamaguchi knockoff that I have into a much more posable than the Legends version Gwenom, or Venom Ghost Spider. However, I don't know what the official name is. But that's my plan. I was originally going to just get that figure, like I have it on pre-order, but then I saw that somebody was selling a broken one, and it was like 13 bucks after tax and all that. So I was kind of like, you know what? 13 bucks for a figure that I'm just going to be using for parts, that's not bad. It's cheaper than buying the $20 figure and then using that for parts. So yeah, no idea if it's going to work out, but I'm going to give it a try. I think I bored everybody else. That's okay. Oh wow, I've been doing this for over an hour. Time flies when you're covering your fingers in pink paint and talking so much your throat gets dried out. I hope I've been at least mildly entertaining to the people who are watching this, or are watching the archive, or watching the stream. I hope this hasn't been terrible is what I'm saying. Because I'm not exactly an entertainer by nature. I'm just a dude who's a dork about toys. Well, I suppose that could be said for a lot of people who have YouTube channels about toys. Alright, I kinda... I know I should do these bits in here, but I'm just so worn out on painting right now. And the waist section too, jeez. There's so much I need to do. I think I might actually need to disassemble this. Or I suppose I could just rotate it around and... Nope, that won't work. Alright, well... I think I'm going to stop painting for now. I'm going to move on to cleaning up the unclean sections that I've painted. So, put that away. Bring this out again. And let's clean our brush. I'll probably paint Laserbeak too if he needs it. I don't know for sure. But yeah, this has been, well, I don't know that I could say this has been successful, but I haven't hated this. I've had fun. I like talking to folks while painting. Not something, like I said at the beginning, it's not something, it's not, I'm tripping over my words, it's not something that I'm going to be doing for every custom project. I don't see myself doing it for the entirety of a custom project, but yeah, it's not bad. I could do this again. Peaked at whole 4 viewers at once at one point. That was amazing. And I'm not even being sarcastic. Like, I had no idea if anyone was even going to bother watching this. So the fact that anybody is watching this is pretty cool. All right, I think I'm going to start with the arms here just to get those cleaned up. And so to clean up these bits, as a reminder, I went in with the paint into the crevices and then just wiped them away with my finger because I am very low tech and low skill like that. But essentially for this, I'm just getting some of the enamel thinner on my brush and just lightly going around the edges to try and clear off any excess paint that might have ended up on the edges. Still watching as always. First time in your streams. It's fun to hang around and talk. It is fun. Though this is a first for both of us because this is the first time I've actually really streamed any of these projects. Like, I did my test a while back with, well, not even a while back, like a couple weeks ago with Ocular Max's Azalea, but that was just a test, and that was just for about 20 minutes. So this has been the first time that I've even tried to be somewhat interesting behind the camera in real time for an extended period of time. And as I'm sure is obvious, I am not interesting, but I'm trying anyway. So I think that looks, well, there's a little bit more. All right, get a little bit more of the enamel thinner on there. And get in there. I'm really hoping that this is not going off camera too much, because again, that's kind of a weird balance that I've got to strike here. I think that looks pretty clean. And now the other arm, because I definitely got some gunk on the upper part here that I got to clean off. So let's just do that. Get rid of this pink that should not be. There's something weirdly satisfying about this part of the process for me. I mean, I like painting these things and seeing how they look when they're done. Like, that is kind of its own reward, but there's just something so satisfying about going over these areas that are a little bit messy, a little bit outside the lines, and just kind of delicately erasing the extra gunk around the outside, and then by the time you're done and you wipe off the excess, it's like this relatively clean looking line. I dig it. Definitely going to need to put some work in here though, because this bottom part of the arm looks purple. I smeared a lot of pink paint on that. That's, you know, it happens. But that's the beauty of it. It gets messy and then you clean it up. I know this is probably not the most elegant technique, but it's the one I use. I know that there are people who like use tape to mask off the sections that they're painting, and I've tried that, but for me, I have a really hard time getting the tape to actually stay down. So I just kind of end up doing it this way because it's easier for me. Not saying it's easy or the best way, but it's easier for me. Give that a little bit more time. I know I need to clean up a little bit up here, but because I've already painted this, I'm not going to go at this with the enamel thinner. I'm just going to do another coat of blue, like a light brushing of blue over the pink to cover it up. So I won't be doing the enamel thinner there. But I want to give that torso more time to dry, so I'm going to move on to the legs here. And I think the kneecaps are fine. I clean up the toes a little bit. Just a bit. I feel like I did a pretty decent job of not getting too messy with the feet. So just gonna run the brush along there. And one of the things that's really handy when it comes to this in particular, like cleaning up, especially when it comes to like figures, is the fact that you can usually let the contours of the figure work for you. Like if you come at it from the right angle, by which I mean like I'm coming at it this way, kind of down, so that the bristles of the brush will bump into this lip. So that way it should keep most of the bristles from even touching the blue paint along the side of the foot there. Just a little trick that I've, I guess, sort of picked up doing this. I don't know. I am not an expert. I am 100% a complete amateur when it comes to painting my stuff. But there's just little things that I've kind of picked up over the year plus. I don't know how long I've been doing this. I'm sure it feels like I've been doing it for longer than I have, or it feels like I've been doing it for not as long as I actually have. I don't know. Time this year has become kind of a mess. What even is time anymore, right? I sure don't know. Let's see. That side looks pretty clean, but that definitely needs some cleaning. And this one I might actually go in with the paper towel, because there's like this crease here. So I'm just gonna brush along the edge a little bit. Brush, I think I should probably brush away from the other blue bit up there. And then come in with this and wipe that away, and that still needs a little bit more. It's fine. That's the other problem with this method, is it requires a lot of patience, and sometimes I do not have that. Sometimes I just want to get it done. But at the same time, that perfectionist part of me is like, yeah, you want to get it done, but you don't want to have to do it again either, so I end up kind of meeting myself in the middle. I take my time, but I also rush. So that's just how I do. All right. Yeah, that'd probably be my biggest tip for anyone who wants to paint their figures, is patience. Off topic again, still in demand of Megaforce figures for Lightning Collection. I feel like they have to at some point. Like, they're slowly making their way through a lot of different Ranger teams, so I feel like they have to get to Megaforce at some point. I have not seen Megaforce myself, but I am familiar enough with it just because of Linkara's History of Power Rangers videos. So I know that the Megaforce Rangers are based off of, oh, what is it? I can't remember the name of the Sentai series now. Goseiger? I think it was Goseiger. Yeah, it's Goseiger. Yeah, those are definitely some flashy costumes. I will give them that. And I mean, I could say I'm partial to Gokaiger myself, but I mean, Gokaiger's the only Sentai series that I've ever seen, so that's extremely biased. Because I have no other frame of reference. But I gotta say, the Gokaiger costumes, they're not as flashy as the Goseiger ones, but I really like the pirate theme. Like, the fact that they work the pirate theme into the helmets and into the jackets is very cool to me. Also, Gokaiger has Luca, and Luca is the best character in everything. Alright. We're getting there. I think once I finish cleaning up the torso, then I'm probably going to call it a stream, because my voice is not happy with me. but still got a little bit of time left. And I feel like cleaning up this foot is going to be a pain. Or maybe not. Guess I spoke too soon. That actually cleaned up pretty quickly. 2-pack of Megaforce and Super Megaforce. That would be cool. Though personally, if I were to get any Super Megaforce figures, I would probably just want the Super Megaforce figures and not the Megaforce ones, but I definitely think it'd be cool for people who want both. Probably also, assuming they didn't do some ridiculous exclusives like Hasbro has been doing, it'd potentially make them easier for collectors to find them too. Just get them in a 2-pack or a multi-pack, whichever. I think I'll call that cleaned up too. So now the torso. Just gotta clean up this midsection here. This has certainly been a process. I suppose all things considered, an hour isn't too bad for how long this has taken me. I don't think it's terrible progress for an hour's worth of work, right? It's definitely some progress. A little bit. Tiny bit. Oy, what was I thinking with this Soundwave being the debut project? I should have picked something so much easier and simpler. This is not good content. This is just me awkwardly flailing in front of a camera for over an hour. Okay. Give myself a little bit more room to work here. I might have to get less precise with this. It's hard to... It's hard to see the lines in this setup. Ah, okay. Did not realize they were doing a multi-pack with SPD figures. Makes sense, though. And definitely, it does make sense, too, that, like, if they're doing a multi-pack and one of the figures in the multi-pack is also available, like, solo, and you want both figures in the multi-pack, then just get the multi-pack. Because, like, why would you not do that? It's just good sense. That is absolutely the way to go, I think. Oh, boy. And I suppose one thing I could live stream in the future, whenever that happens, is finishing up my Transformers Cyberverse Macadam figure. Because I have been slowly working on the Macadam Build-A-Figure from Cyberverse as I've been working on the Cyberverse figures themselves. Because I have all of the, I have gotten all of the figures from Cyberverse Adventures Deluxe, the Deluxe line. I just didn't keep Shockwave because personally I don't find Cyberverse Shockwave all that interesting, toy-wise. Even the Deluxe, it was just kind of like, okay, crab-walking Shockwave, woo. Nothing against people who like the toy, it's just didn't do it for me. But I did get him in order to get the Build-A-Figure part. And so I've got an almost complete Macadam, except for the head, because Thunder Howl has still not come out in this area, and even though I've had him pre-ordered for quite some time on BBTS, he has not come in at BBTS either. And I'm not paying exorbitant prices on eBay or Amazon or anything to get a figure that I already have pre-ordered for 20 bucks. So that ain't happening. But eventually I'm going to be getting Macadam's head, and when I do, I should probably stream finishing him up, because that's probably going to be super quick. Because I actually have already painted the entirety of everything else. Like, I've painted his headless body and his hammer as much as I want to. So Macadam is pretty much done right now, except for his head, because I don't have his head. So yeah, I feel like maybe I should live stream painting his head, because that couldn't possibly take me that long. Because it's just his head. It's a little bean. There don't even seem to be that many parts on it that I would need to paint. I mean, I definitely would need to paint some. But since the bulk of his frame is already done, literally, that would probably be pretty easy to do. And then I could have fun with it and be like, look, here's the big reveal for the Transformers Cyberverse McAdam figure that I customized. Woo! Yeah, I might just do that. All right. So, now that I've pretty much cleaned this guy off as much as I want, except for going over that bit there with blue, what do you say we put this guy back together and we see what he looks like now that he's been not entirely finished, but relatively close to finished? Because I think, again, based on like the fact that I want this guy to transform, and I'm also human and only have so much patience, I don't want to do like 100% show accuracy, but a couple of things I do want to do, like the midsection and stuff, but that I think I'm going to do off camera. And also his head. I still haven't done his head. Oy. But I think I'm going to call it for this stream. But first, let's put him together. So let's see how he looks as an almost complete, painted, customized, whatever, Soundwave. Gotta make sure to give him his chicken legs. I know people have issue with the chicken legs. I rather like them. But I am also weird. Oh, this is gonna be tricky to pop back on here, I think, because of the angles involved. Come on, get on there. Oh, okay. Nope. Great. Nope. All right, let me try it this way. As I get paint all over my fingers and by extension all over everything else. There we go. That's got it. Okay, just had to come at it from the other direction. Not too bad. And clip that on. Nope. Clip that on. Okay. There we go. And for good measure, let's give him Laserbeak back. Alright, and there we have not quite finished, but getting there. Transformers Prime Soundwave. Thank you. Let's get some of this other stuff out of the way so we can look at him properly now. There we go. Get that magnifier out of the way. So there we go. We've got a little bit more pink on the arms. More going on with the feet and the legs and the knees. I definitely like how that pink in the kneecaps just adds a little bit more to it. There was no way I was going to paint this blue, but I do like the little pink details there. I might want to do something to the thighs later too, just to mix things up a little bit there. I don't know. But yeah, boy, I think once I'm done, this is going to look pretty cool. Though I also think that Prime Soundwave looks pretty freaking cool on its own. Alright, thank you very much for joining me. I will see you in the Discord server at some point, I'm sure. And as for everyone else who is watching the stream or watching the archive of the stream, thank you for watching also. I hope you got at least some value out of this, other than just seeing me ramble for an hour and a half and get paint all over my fingers and thankfully avoid ruining a very cool toy. But thank you all for watching, and I guess I'll see you all later.